In the past 15 years, Pakistan's superior judiciary, especially its Supreme Court, has started playing an increasingly assertive role in Pakistani politics, constraining the authority and vetoing the policies and actions of elected institutions in order to shape politics and policies in line with its own preferences. And there are three reasons behind the judiciary's emergence as such an active center of power in politics. First, a combination of constitutional articles and legal innovations have empowered the judiciary to emerge and intervene in the actions of other branches of government, especially public interest litigation, which began in the late 1980s and advanced after 2000, became a tool the courts have used to intervene in the domains of the executive and legislature in the name of public interest. Second, the judiciary separated itself from the executive, taking control of judicial appointments from the executive and thus increasing judicial independence. Third, High Court judges are primarily recruited from a legal profession, where the legal culture has increasingly eschewed procedural restraint and favored confrontation with political leadership, whether civilian or military. This combination of new jurisdictional discretion, executive separation from the judiciary, and judicialization of politics and a shifting legal culture have helped move the judiciary in a more politically ambitious and confrontational direction. Since 2009, the Superior Judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, adopted a mission of improving governance and combating political corruption by intervening in all areas of governance, including appointments, postings, policies, and even the qualifications of political leaders. Let's go at the impact it's had party by party. First, the Pakistan People's Party, or PML-N, has long held that the Pakistani judiciary has been biased against it, especially since it upheld General Zia's coup against Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and even upheld Bhutto's execution in the 1970s. Now, since 2010, this sentiment has persisted as the Supreme Court's focus on relentlessly pursuing corruption charges against President Zardari and other members of the PPP leadership, even disqualifying their Prime Minister while also frequently intervening and overruling their decisions. Now, when it came to the Pakistan Muslim League, or PML-N, it seemed that the court dealt a softer hand. But by 2017, a consensus seemed to develop between the military leadership and the Supreme Court that the root of Pakistan's problems were the leaders of these two mainstream political parties, the PML-N and PPP. And from 2017, the Supreme Court's anti-corruption jurisprudence really focused on the PML-N. This led to the disqualification of party leaders from political office, including Nawaz Sharif, their Prime Minister. And the result was that PML-N suffered while the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or PTI, the leading party in opposition, benefited. Under their charismatic leader Imran Khan, PTI hitched its wagon to the court's interventions, using the court's judgments to validate PTI's claims that all other political parties were corrupt and helping set up their electoral victory in 2018. Now, as we know, in 2022, the Supreme Court compelled Khan to face a parliamentary no-confidence vote, paving the way for Khan's removal as well. But most of the leading judges do primarily disapprove of Pakistan's traditional political parties and sympathize with Khan's anti-corruption rhetoric. Overall, therefore, the court's interventions and disdain for many of Pakistan's traditional political class has led to their interventions undermining the PPP and PML-N while favoring the PTI. Pakistan's judiciary has historically repeatedly upheld multiple military coups and collaborated in maintaining military supremacy in Pakistan. But in the 2000s, as the court started charting a more independent and interventionist direction, we saw more clashes between these institutions, culminating in a confrontation between the courts and General Musharraf's military regime in 2007, a clash that put Pakistan on the path to democracy. However, since 2017, military authority and influence across state institutions grew substantially once again, and some judges willingly aligned with the military in regulating political branches, while other judges came under the increasing influence of a growingly militarized executive and its surveillance apparatus. So through a combination of an alignment of interests between judicial and military elites and increasing pressure on judges, a sizable faction of judges became unwilling to confront military power. But there still remained many judges who wanted to maintain independence and be able to constrain and confront military power, which led to growing polarization within the judiciary over its relationship with the executive and military. However, even when the judiciary does not challenge the military, on certain political issues, the leadership of these institutions do not see eye to eye, and the interactions and differences between these two powerful unelected institutions will shape the dynamics of Pakistan's political future. Moving forward, the courts will continue to play a critical role in shaping the rocky road to Pakistan's next election and beyond. We've already seen a range of political questions come before the courts since Khan's removal in April. And the pressure from Khan's effective mobilization since his removal, combined with the judicial leadership's continuing distrust of the PPP and PML-N, and an abiding judicial interest in constraining political discretion, has meant that the new PML-N government cannot expect much relief from the courts. The Supreme Court has so far made a series of decisions in favor of the PTI, decisions including ordering that there should be no withdrawal of corruption cases against members of the PML-N, upholding the process through which PTI has returned to power in the province of Punjab, and avoiding punishing Khan for leading a violent protest into Islamabad in defiance of court orders, to name a few. The coming year will also continue to bring a whole slew of important questions for the courts to resolve that will shape the path to the next election, including the voting rights of overseas voters and, most significantly, potentially Khan's qualifications to continue to participate in electoral politics. Under the current Supreme Court leadership, the trend of constraining PML-N and PPP and favouring PTI is likely to continue. But it must be remembered, this does not mean PTI will win every case they bring before the courts, as the courts will also be looking to maintain their own authority and discretion and legitimacy. And when these are at odds with the interests of the PTI and Imran Khan, the PTI may not come out on top. Further, Justice Issa will be the next Chief Justice of Pakistan in 2023, an independent-minded judge who the PTI government targeted and sought to remove while they were in power. So if elections happen as scheduled, whoever is Chief Justice during those next elections will play a critical role in defining the court's roles